Welcome back to the channel today, guys, and it's with great pleasure that I can say to you guys today that NieR is back. I've greatly enjoyed this show this season, and I was so bummed out when it went on hiatus for a couple weeks. But we can say with certainty that it is back now, and I really hope that it stays back for a while and finishes. NieR is definitely one of my favorite shows that I've been doing on the channel this season. And this episode was really good, but I don't really understand how I can describe it to you guys besides it's interesting, intriguing, sad, and disturbing. All in one episode. It has all these emotions in it. There's a lot to go over today because this was, I'd argue, a pretty intense episode. So, without further ado, let's just get straight into it, honestly, and talk about NieR Automata, episode 4 today. So, our episode today begins rather interesting, actually, as we see the Machine Lifeforms actually putting on a play. And this is kind of fascinating in a way, because it really shows that they truly are capable of learning, and they're learning at an alarming rate. It's honestly extremely interesting to see how the machine lifeforms are evolving so quickly. But when we peel back the layers a bit, we start seeing that it's a little disturbing as we see the walls are lined with the corpses of Yorha soldiers. It's honestly a very unnerving scene. And it showcases that while this is fascinating that they're learning so much, it's also kind of twisted at the same time. Unnatural, even. But we'll come back to this horror show in a bit because it's here. We're going to transition to the Resistance base because we have a lot to go over after the crazy events of our previous episode. As Lily asks 2B and 9S, what did you guys see out there? As 2B tells her, we found this special individual in the desert and we chased after him. And in the process, we found numerous corpses of androids. As 9S says, and then we were caught up in a collapse and had to fight two special variants at the same time of machine lifeforms. It's a type we've never seen before. As Lily asks them, did you defeat it? As he tells her, no, unfortunately. We uploaded the combat data to the bunker where it's currently being analyzed as we speak. As 2B adds that machine lifeform looked just like an android. As 2B adds, it was evolving at tremendous speeds from the moment it emerged. It was even capable of speaking words. And it's here as 9S again insists that it's just mimicking humans. Jackass makes a very good counter-argument. As she says, maybe, but in due time, it might end up becoming a being that surpasses humanity. And upon hearing that, you can tell that 9S is taken aback by hearing that. We can tell that he hasn't thought about that just yet, and how scary that thought actually is. As Jackass says, lately, machine lifeforms have clearly been changing. Maybe we might be able to negotiate with them in some way. But Lily tells her, even if we were able to understand each other, there's no way we could coexist with one another. But Jackass insists that we might be able to find peace and have a ceasefire between us, showcasing that these two have very different ideas of what they want to do in the future moving forward. And it's here that 9S decides to butt in as he tells Jackass, you know, something like peace won't reclaim this planet for us, you know. As he adds, besides, what of all our allies who've died? What have they been fighting for then? What did they believe in? Did they want peace? All those reasons will disappear. As he tells them both, the mission given to us, androids, is to destroy machine lifeforms for humanity and regain control of Earth. And it's here Jackass tells him, alright, so how much longer will you fight this war that's continued for several thousand years then? As 9S says, until every last one of them has been destroyed. As 9S says, we androids were modeled after our human creators. So why would machine life forms try to mimic us? And you know, for androids that are supposed to have no emotions, where emotions are extremely frowned upon because they get in the way of your mission, 9S is very expressive with his. He puts his beliefs on full display for people, for better or worse. And we will see that on full display later in our episode. And it's here we transition to an extremely interesting scene that gives me a lot of questions, actually, as we transition to the commander actually contacting the moon base where the humans supposedly are. As she says, "This is Commander White of Satellite Orbit Base Bunker. Concerning our operation underway, it is going to be difficult to continue with 2B and 9S alone. Data collection is going to prove difficult to collect." As she gets cut off and is told, "As we've said multiple times, Commander, we cannot approve your request for backup. Use the resistance on site as decoys and execute your mission." But the commander rebuttals and says, if we don't do something now, not only will the resistance decoys be taken out, but 2B and 9S as well, as she gets cut off again and is told, "The special machine life form units encountered last week, Adam and Eve, and all unique machine life form units that we'll encounter in the future, are all embedded within the plan of Project Yorha." Essentially telling her that everything is going according to plan. Do as we tell you to. As they say, everything is for the victory of humanity. Those in our position must make decisions with things in perspective. As the commander says, even if many sacrifices are necessary for that purpose. As they tell her that's right, and you are already in the same position as we are. As they say, glory to mankind, and they cut communication. And once the conversation's over, we can tell that the commander doesn't like this one bit. And now this whole conversation was extremely fishy. For humans that supposedly want to take back their world, they're going about this in an extremely weird way. It's very eye-opening, to say the least, and gives me some ideas that we'll come back to later. And it's here we transition to 2B and 9S just chilling on one of the skyscrapers. And this scene really just shows you how beautiful, but how sad this world really is. As all of a sudden, we see these rockets getting shot up into space from a distance. As 2B is obviously surprised by that, but 9S tells her, "Oh, that's right. You've never seen that before, have you?" As he tells her they're launching supplies from Earth to the bunker in the human base on the moon. After all, there's no parts or fuel in outer space. And it's here 2B asks the question that I've literally been asking the entire series, as she says, why don't machine life forms or the aliens who created them directly attack the bunker? They came from outer space to begin with. And that's so true. I don't understand why they don't either. It makes zero sense why they wouldn't just attack the base on the moon and cripple the heart of the humans. It makes zero sense. As 9S says, I don't quite understand how humans think. And apparently, neither do I. Aliens, not humans. And it's here all of a sudden we get a recon request from the commander telling them of their next mission. As we hear, we have confirmed multiple machine life forms that have shown amicable reaction. The Yorha soldier who went to investigate left an incomprehensible final vocal message, and then severed their comms. And as we hear the message, all we hear is, "Ah, what a fun show." As they're told, we're still picking up their black box signal, so presumably they're not dead yet. As they're told that your mission is to investigate this disappearance. But it's here as we transition to the scene of the disappearance. It's much more merry than you would think, as we see that it's at an amusement park. And it's here as we see them walking around the park investigating it. We see a group of machine life forms just completely in the festivities, full costume and everything, having a great time. It's honestly a very interesting sight. As 9S asks, are these the friendly machine life forms mentioned in the report? Because they're not attacking us. And it's here as they get approached by a machine life form who tells them soon the fun stage will begin. They decide to follow it as it leads them to this old theater. And it's here upon entering the theater, they see something quite strange. We see the play start playing again from the beginning of our episode as 9S says, "What in the world are those machine life forms doing?" As Pod tells them they're performing a play, drawing out human life atop a stage. But it's here as the clock reaches 12, something strange happens as all of the machine life forms start freaking out and actually end up exploding. As all of a sudden, we see the curtain rises and we see the star of our show in all their disturbing glory. As we see that this one machine life form has melded with all this machinery and become an entirely different entity. As the pod basically tells them no similar type data available in past combat records, meaning we don't know what the hell this is. And it's here that their fight begins. And I gotta say, this show really loves its angles, guys. Let's leave it at that for now, but they really love their angles. As we see this machine life form create this barrier around them and then shoot out these giant balls of electric energy. It's honestly a very coolly animated scene. As 9S tells 2B, we should probably retreat for now. We're not ready to fight this thing. But as they attempt to leave, we see that they can't get out because of the barriers. The pod says, report, due to enemy electromagnetic waves, retreat from this combat area is not possible. Meaning, they're stuck in here. As the machine life form charges at them and unleashes all this black energy, sending it flying towards them. As we see that they're duck, dodging, and weaving all these shots. As 9S says, it's disadvantageous to keep fighting like this. I'm going to try to hack into it. But as he tries to do it, it turns out that they're the ones that get hacked into instead. And it's here we see what the machine life form itself is thinking in this moment as we see, must become beautiful, put on many ornaments, adornments. And it's here as they snap out of it, we see exactly what those adornments are. As 2B jumps at it and attacks it and exposes its core. As they realize if we can destroy that, we can take this thing down. But it's here our situation goes from bad to worse, as the machine life form calls down all these crucified androids. It's extremely disturbing. As we actually see they all start attacking 2B and 9S, as they ask, is it repurposing their corpses to attack? But then they realize, no. They've been altered in the weapons while still alive. Truly torturous. And it's here as Pod tells 2B to retreat again. She says, no, I'm gonna finish this here and now, as she charges forward and takes out a good amount of the android corpses in the process. As the machine life form shoots out these energy balls again, as 9S says, alright, I'm gonna try to hack it this time. You have to cover me. And it's here as we transition to him hacking inside. We see that 9S might have went a little over his head on this one. This might be more than he bargained for. Because it's here as he's walking around, we see all these different personalities inside of this machine life form. As he suddenly hears, am I beautiful? And he says, this feels just like real emotions. What's going on? As all of a sudden he's overwhelmed by all these emotions, overpowered by them. And it's here as we transition back to the outside, we see that this machine life form starts freaking out and shoots out these energy waves that destroy the android corpses everywhere and even part of its own self. As it screams, someone help me. And as we transition back to 9S, we see that he's delved even deeper into this machine life form's subconscious. And it's here as he's trying to get out, we see a bunch of hands grab him and try to pull him down. And it's here as he regains consciousness, he's suddenly in this one room, strapped onto the wall. And it's here while he's strapped there, he notices the one machine life form that's created this giant monstrosity as it's saying, this is bad, this is also bad, as it's digging through body parts. And it's here we see that this machine life form is seriously twisted emotionally as it tries to rip 9S's arm off as it says, help, kill me, kill me. As we suddenly see a giant mouth swallow it, and we see that on the outside, the machine life form has evolved again. As we see that 2B on the outside is running around desperately trying to save 9S, who's still inside of this thing hacking it. And as we transition back to 9S, we see that this mouth inside has sucking him in, essentially sucking in his subconscious, trying to devour him whole. As one of the pods tells 2B, enemy consciousness is running wild and trying to assimilate 9S. As 2B tells it, alright, utilize emergency usage of my hacking attacks to the enemy. I'm going in to save 9S. As the pod tells her, hacking done by Type B models have the possibility of logic corruption. You should not do this. As she tells him, just hurry up and do it. We don't have the time for this. And it's here as we see that 9S is about to be pulled in the mouth and assimilated. 2B jumps in there and saves him at the last second. As we see its robot subconscious try to attack them one more time. But 9S does one final blow and takes it out. And it's here on the outside as we see 2B has opened up its core one more time. The pod shoots a beam through it, completely destroying it this time. And it's here as we transition back to the robot subconscious. We just see I became beautiful as its mechanical body explodes into pieces. And honestly, guys, the stuff revolving around the machine life forms in this show is honestly really sad. Like, they're literally trying to evolve and just become more human, but at the same time, they're doing it in the wrong ways and becoming monstrosities like this. It's honestly very bittersweet. And it's here as they walk up to its body, they say, this crystal, is it the machine life form's core? As the pod tells them, it is a fragment of the core of the machine life form. It's structurally similar to a plant cell, which is very interesting, honestly. As 2B says, this machine life form was saying such strange things, almost like it had emotions, as 9S cuts her off and says, such things don't exist in machine life forms. He refuses to admit it, even after everything he's seen. But it's here that we start to get kind of sad, as we see two machine life forms walking in, a mother and a daughter, as the mother says, please wait. As she says, we just came to watch the play. Please don't hurt us. And as we see 9S walk over to them, he crushes the flowers as the machine life form says, don't hurt my daughter, as he cuts her down, and then stabs the daughter right in the chest. As he tells 2B, you can't hesitate. And even though she seems quite shooken up with that, our episode ends none the same. Or all the same. And man, I gotta say it, guys, like, very harsh. I don't know if that was necessary at the end, but at the same time, if they let them keep going and evolve, they could all turn into machines like the one they just fought. So it's really a conundrum. Like, do you let them go? Can you let them go? Can a truce actually happen between them, or are they gonna eternally have to fight each other? It's very interesting. I like that this show is tackling that a lot. And this episode, we especially saw a lot of growth in machine life forms and how scary but interesting that can be. It's wild. But you guys let me know your thoughts on the episode down below, because I think this was a very good episode, honestly. And I'm so happy that NieR is back so we can enjoy this series again. So let me know your thoughts down below. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces and have a blessed day. I will see you guys next time.